Hi, everyone. My name is Shawn Jones, and I am the CEO of the iNetrepreneur Network. And today I have with me a man who is so giving. He is extremely well known, not just here in the local market, but across the United States. He works with athletes, he works with speakers, writers. He works with a lot of different types of entrepreneurs and helps give them ways to get their expert knowledge out there, whether it's in print or it's through radio. Brian Wright is a longtime friend. He is a business associate. He's also the iNetrepreneur Network's editor for the magazine. Brian, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Oh, thank you, Shawn. It's always great to be with you here.
You know, Brian, I can rave about you all day long. I mean, you work a lot with our contributors. I know that you work a lot with others outside of our community. I mean, your magazine alone is incredible. But I, I always say, when somebody says, "What do you do in life?" we always start with our business first. You know, that's like our badge of this is what I do. But I love to get to know the person behind all of the happenings in the world. So share with us, Brian, a little bit about your background that is kind of, take us from this journey from where you started to where you're at today.
Sure. Well, I grew up in a small town in Iowa and ended up going to college at Iowa State to study communication studies. I got my bachelor's degree there. And then after that, I went to the University of Nebraska in Lincoln and got my master's degree in adult education. And while I was there, I landed a part-time teaching job at a 2-year business college. It was called Lincoln School of Commerce. The school no longer exists. It was sold a couple of times and then finally closed permanently a few years ago. And this all happened way after I was there. But I taught public speaking, English composition, and business math. And you might think, well, what is in common with those 3 classes? Well, they were all required. So I had probably just about every student who went through that school in one or more of those classes. I think the enrollment topped out at 450. So you got to know people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun. I enjoyed doing that. And some people don't like speaking, some people don't like writing, and some people really don't like math. So I tried to make it as fun as I possibly could. And I hope I succeeded. Uh, yeah. And so that was fun. I also did some resume writing. That was my side hustle. And then at some point, enrollment went way, way down because our new director of admissions no longer believed in yellow page advertising. This was pre-internet. So what was he even thinking? So I ended up getting downscaled to part-time because there weren't enough classes for me. And then eventually I wasn't offered any more classes at all. So I thankfully had the side hustle that I made my full-time business. After a while, I just decided I needed to change the scenery. So I moved to Arizona in 1996, ended up in the call center world for a while, not just calling people, but in some roles, I got promoted to a supervisor role. In one role, I got promoted to payroll manager. In a couple of roles, I got promoted to the training role. And those are created specifically for me because I was doing really well. And the managers on duty said, we really need you to teach other people how you're getting all these appointments and all these sales. And so they created those positions for me. And then eventually I ended up becoming a ghostwriter, and I ended up starting my radio show in 2012. And I ended up starting a magazine in 2017. And so that leads me to where I am now. And I've been full-time for almost 4 years. And it's just getting better all the time. In fact, when COVID hit, I took a hit initially, just like a lot of us did. But then I realized people are consuming content way more than they were before. So for those of us who are content creators, that was our ticket. And so the second half of 2020 was actually the best 6 months in my business. So I was really happy to have that happen for me. And so this year has been very interesting. And I had some. My dad passed a few weeks ago, and that was really hard. And my business coach passed like 3 weeks ago. So I've been dealing with some stuff. But here's the thing. Life still goes on, and you have to keep going. You have to keep serving your clients. Take the time you need to handle your personal business, but also remember that there are other people who are always counting on you. And so figuring out that balance was a little tricky. Yeah. And I thank you guys for being so helpful to me during that time. You did some things for me that we don't have to talk about now, but you and I know, and God knows, and you will be richly rewarded for all of your good Samaritan stuff.
Well,
so thank you.
Thank you. So, Brian, it sounds like that you have that teaching background. It sounds like it was in your DNA.
Yeah.
And along the way, you have a couple of groups that you work with people to help educate and teach them how to pull on their strengths. Can you share a little bit about the couple of different groups that you offer?
Yeah. So I have a Facebook group called Success Profiles Magazine, which is based on promoting Success Profiles Magazine. People who are contributors are in that group. People who are subscribers are in that group. And there are a few people who are neither one, but seem to have an interest in what I'm doing. So I'm thankful for that. I have another group called Entrepreneur Live, which is supporting the virtual summits that I do called Entrepreneur Live with an exclamation point. So if you're searching in Facebook for Entrepreneur Live, exclamation point, you'll find me there too. And I usually promote some stuff there too. So a couple of small Facebook groups that I'm doing. And then I have a business page called Success Profiles Radio, where I post the latest episode every week. So I've got probably 3,000 people in that on that page.
Yeah, you do have quite the following. I know that when we go to different events, there you are. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so you're working with so many different types of entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned your groups and you mentioned your radio show. Share with us, if somebody were to want to be on your show or tune in, what can they expect from your radio?
Sure. So if you Google Success Profiles Radio, you'll see links all over the place. You can find me on Apple Podcasts, iTunes. There is a page on the TogiNet Radio Network
Hmm.
that directs you to my show. In fact, if you tell Alexa to play Success Profiles Radio, she will do it.
Ooh,
She'll play the latest episode. And I had my latest episode a couple of days ago with Tamara Hunter, and that was a fun show. And you know who she is. So
oh yes,
yeah,
yes.
she's great. She's doing a lot of amazing things in the world. And Marshall Silver will be my guest next week for the second time. He's promoting a new thing that he wanted to get some media. And so I said, sure, I'll have you back on. And he messaged me yesterday and saying, I'm really looking forward to coming back on your show again. I said, yeah, me too. So that's fun. I've had some really great people on the show. I interview people who have done amazing things in the world or who have overcome some things and have risen from the dust and the ashes to create something amazing. A lot of them are well known and some are not, but I like to pick their brain and ask them what they did and how they did it and what can we learn from it. So I get to spend an hour with people that I look up to and want to learn more from, and I get to share that with the world. And so it's really fun. And what I've done is I've repurposed a lot of that material into books, for example. So some of the best interviews from my show have been in this book, Success Profiles, Conversations with High Achievers, Volume 1. And this one is Volume 2. I want to do Volume 3 here in the next few months because I've had more amazing people. And I've repurposed some of that content into Success Profiles Magazine, which I started in December 2017. Kevin Harrington was my first cover, and he had already been on my show a few months prior. So it's
Yeah.
create content and use it more than once. That's the secret sauce, because people who know I have a show may not know that I have a magazine. People who know that I have a magazine may not know I have a show. They may not know that I help people write their books. They may not know this, that, or the other thing. But when you add all those things up, 1 + 1 + 1 doesn't equal 3. It equals 5, 6, or 7, depending on how you use it.
And I love how you not only repurpose the content for your own use,
Mm-hmm.
but you teach others how to repurpose their content. I mean,
Yeah.
nowadays there's vlogs, there's
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of magazines, podcasts,
Yeah.
and every time somebody is on your show or they're in your magazine, they're in your group, as a business professional, we're also building our resumes. It's helping us to become credible and be positioned as experts. And
Yeah.
every time somebody's on a show, they can use your logo and say featured on.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that do? It helps the person who's being interviewed.
Yep.
It's helping you. And I love how your publication, there's all kinds of newsworthy information, real people. And it doesn't matter what somebody's demographics are, their income, or, how many businesses they have. At the end of the day, we're all people and you're helping to spread their message.
Mm-hmm.
And how often is your publication?
Every month.
Every month. Now, is it a subscription base?
It
Do we
is.
just go to Barnes and Noble and pick it up?
It's not there, but you can go to successprofilesmagazine.com. It is a paid subscription. So my goal was to make this a premium brand, which I really do honestly believe there is. There's a monthly subscription, an annual subscription, and there's an unlimited where you pay only one time and never, ever, ever again. And I had several people jump on that last month. I mean, why wouldn't you want to? You can access every issue that I've ever done. In fact, issue number 40 came out this week.
Wow, 40. Oh my gosh. So that is definitely, I mean, it's long standing.
Yeah. And every issue is anywhere between 36 and 52 pages. And it's content driven. There are not many ads.
Yeah, I love publications that are content driven because they make a great table piece. They
Mm-hmm.
make, if you're featured in the magazine, or even if you're not, maybe you just want to give a gift to somebody
Mm-hmm.
with your publication and this, even the subscription, you can gift that to someone. And what a wonderful surprise. Even if you have college students that are, going into business, it's just a way for you to help others. And that's really what you're about, is helping, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Um, and now you do ghostwriting. And I even came to you when I needed something written.
Yeah.
And because of your skill set,
Mm-hmm.
share with us about ghostwriting. Because I know that I've come into across people, and they'll say, well, I'm not really a good writer. How do I find a ghostwriter? How are
Mm-hmm.
they going to know how to speak in my words and not
Right,
theirs?
exactly. A lot of times, what I do is we have a session to figure out what your book or your thing is going to be about and what direction it's going to take and what your call to action is going to be. A lot of people miss this part because I say, what do you want to happen because of the book? Are you just telling your story? Okay, great. Yay. But if you're using this to build your business, what do you want to have happen? Do you want them to join your list? Do you want them to come to your event? Do you want them to get on your calendar to schedule a free session? Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad was all about selling his cash flow game. And he sprinkled very liberal amounts of stuff about his cash flow game. That was his end game. And the last page of the book was buy my cash flow game. And here's where you go. T. Harv Eker, when he wrote Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, provided a ton of value about how rich people think differently than everybody else. And throughout the book, it became very clear that he had a free weekend event that he wanted you to attend where you can learn more about the principles in his book. He would upsell you. He and his team would upsell you into different coaching programs and masterminds and quantum leap programs. But he got you into the room for free. And that created a huge list for him. So what do you want your book to be? What do you want your book to do for your business when it's all said and done? And then we do a series of recorded interviews. And so it does very largely become in your voice. I would not use words that you would never use. I mean, I remember writing a resume for someone one time and I was, in the highlights of qualifications, I wanted to talk about how this person had a very uplifting personality. And the first word I came up with was radiant, but I realized this person would never, ever say that word in a sentence. So I didn't use that word. So you have to be really mindful of who the person is that you're working with. Would they say this? Would they not say this?
Mm-hmm.
And we go through drafts and it's not done until you're happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you help people write their books.
Mm-hmm.
You put them on your radio show. You get them in your magazine. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that you're our editor. Do you work with other entrepreneurs to build their magazines and get
Absolutely.
them out there?
Yep.
Do you work on newsletters? Corporate newsletters to go out to clients? I mean, what are some services that you
I
provide?
haven't done a lot of that, but yes, I do create recurring publications for other clients. I've got 2 other clients besides an Entrepreneur Magazine that I am working on recurring magazines for. And my goal is to have 12 of those. Now that involves me having a team and having help. And so that's my next great challenge is finding people that I trust who are good, who are quick, and who are reasonable to work with. And that word reasonable can mean a lot of different things, but when I know, I know. When someone's a good fit, you know. So that's exciting. My business is growing and people are on board with that. And I've got a couple other people besides you all that I'm working with on their magazines. It's really interesting. One of them is a school in Tucson.
Oh, wow. You
Yeah.
do work with a lot of different types of businesses and industries.
Mhm.
How incredible. Brian, if somebody would like to talk to you, whether it's ghostwriting or about success profiles, magazine, radio, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, they can either email me, Brian at briankwright.com. That's BRIAN, Brian at briankwright.com. Or if they know that they have something very specific they want to talk to me about, they can hop on my calendar, callwithbrian.com.
Wonderful. Well, Brian, I want to say thank you so much for everything that you've given to our community. I appreciate you taking time today to share what you're doing to make a difference.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was great fun.
Thank you.